When he went in, he didn't wear brown brogues in his first interview, did he? Who would you rather move on out of the two?
I think Iggerman for me. And I don't think he's a bad boy. And I'm not saying Iggerman is, but I look at Dessers, you know he's going to turn up for his work.
There's a sort of certain entitlement amongst some of the support. That's dangerous.
You think Rangers and Celtic are not doing analytics looking at players? Of course they are. I'll leave that running to you lot.
We're back, boys!
I'll leave that one.
How was your summer?
Good, all good.
All good?
Yeah, good holiday.
The start that is, isn't it? Gone already. Oh, all good?
All good, yeah.
Your holiday?
Holiday, Dubai.
That's all
Obviously,
right for some.
come at the back of season at Everton, obviously leaving Fleetwood in Christmas time and then straight back into Everton. Yeah, a bit of a break now, trying to get back in, but have to wait and come and spend the time with the special faces of Scottish football now. It's nice to see.
What about yourself?
Do you know, I don't know whether you've got it up in Scotland yet. I've taken up paddle tennis.
Why would you not have it in Scotland?
I don't know, I'm just saying it, so we'll get further north eventually. Do you have paddle up here?
Obviously.
Have you played? Have you played?
I'd beat you.
No, well,
The agility getting about the court.
Yeah, but you play doubles, don't you? Who would be your partner? Kenny? Would Kenny do the
Well, that'd be good.
Kenny
I'd just stand in the net. He could run about everywhere. I could just smash it. That would
changed
work.
then, huh?
That would work.
Yeah, I quite
It's a good
like
partnership.
it. Did you not?
You would
like
need to
it?
get Henry back to finish off yours.
Yeah, done that. Little bit of cricket. Which I know you're not mad. You call it rounders up here.
You still play
Henrik
for a
used
team?
to call it rounders.
You play for a team?
Yeah, Norwich. Have you heard of Norwich?
I don't know. It's far away.
yeah.
It's a sport I can't get into, cricket. I've tried as well. I can't get into it. Can't get into it at all.
No, but that's good.
And,
Good summer.
and this morning, guess who I met at Glasgow Airport?
Who?
Sent his regards?
Who?
Greg Taylor. Greg was on his way out. I was waiting for an Uber, booked my Uber, and he came down with his sort of baggage and what have you.
He'll be delighted you're away.
then
He's away, so he doesn't need to listen to you.
By
the way, he's got his cricket top on. I just noticed that.
To be fair, I met him on holiday in the summer.
Yeah?
Yeah, just before I asked him what he was doing, and I'm surprised he's actually went and left. But he's obviously game time's massive for a minute. It's a big move.
He had all his luggage. Just had a chat, shook hands, had a chat, and then he couldn't get round the pillar. He was struggling to get round. So he sent his regards. Good luck to him.
It's a good boy.
Celtic don't have any players now, do they?
I've started speaking to him again. He's left Celtic now, Greg. Started speaking to him again. Hadn't spoken to him for a few years.
Good move from him, I think.
No, I think he'll do well. I think it's something that's becoming, more often. It's happening more often now. Like, players from Scotland at least are at least attempting to go abroad and be successful. Obviously, the boys have went to Italy and done really well as well, and we are seeing it more often than not now. But fair play to them. I say, because it can be difficult when you've been over a successful period at Celtic, and I don't know what happened at the end up. Do you think you should have kept him?
Yeah, but I think they tried to keep him by all accounts, and that's another area which I'm sure Celtic will try and fill in the next few weeks.
He's got a few to fill.
Got a fair few, yeah. Well, Schlupp's gone, Greg Taylor. I'm sure there's going to be a centre forward coming in.
Who?
I'm not sure, but they wanted one in January. Brendan wanted one.
I think he'll get one. I think they'll spend the big money. I think they'll go for somebody that they need to get the goals because the Champions League is massive for both clubs, isn't it? Yeah. It's huge, and I think Celtic know that this is an opportunity for them to step again. I think again they're favourites for the league, but Rangers have to come and challenge them and catch them, and they've invested well. I think Rangers have done some good business.
Who's caught your eye in particular then?
I like Asgard. I've seen Asgard play a couple of times. I managed against him. He's a good technical player that can pick up good spaces and that. He can score a goal, and he's got a wee bit about him. He's a nasty as well. He leave the boot in as well. I like Rothwell. I think he's a good footballer, but what they have to try and get the balance right is with Raskin and Rothwell both want to get on the ball. And that's going to be a thing for me, is how he builds the pitch with them too. And he might play Raskin a little bit higher at times, but I think he's a good player. Cortez.
I think that's an interesting one that you say there, because Diamond is the same as well, and it was evident during the European game during the week when Diamond and Raskin with Rothwell sitting behind them. The three of them all want on the ball. The three of them want to make things happen from that central area. I mean, I'm looking at the Rangers team right now, and I'm thinking to myself, do you sell one of them Brett Raskin or Diamondi to try and generate funds to then go and strengthen other areas? Because there's no doubt, I mean, if you go back 6-7 weeks ago, Rangers are at Easter Road, and you know you've got a Champions League qualifier a few weeks down the line, you would have said Danilo, or the front three that they started, Finlay Curtis, Danilo and Kieran Dill. I mean, nobody would ever have thought that, would they?
No, I think, but again, I think there's always somebody, like, as a new manager coming in, there's always somebody surprised you pre-season. Curtis, obviously, the one at the moment is surprising them, but Danilo, you know, you never thought you'd have a sniff. Kieran Dow obviously was on loan in Birmingham, but again, comes back, applied himself, and it might be hard to sell him, but keep him in and around it. If they're going to sell one of the, I don't know, out of Raskin and Diamondi, I think they'd have to sell Diamondi. I think Raskin's too big a player in terms of what he can give the team to not be able to, if they sold him, then it'd be hard to replace him. But they'd obviously get a big fee from him. So, no, I think that partnership will work. The three of them are good footballers, but again, they have to trust whoever's in that sixth position to be able to stay away from the game and allow them to get up the pitch.
And what about the appointment of Russell?
Well, that's what I was about to ask Charlie. I mean, you've obviously been imagining yourself as well. Like, you've got your principles. We all know that, you know, that there is clubs that will allow you to implement them, and you know you'd expect Rangers to allow Russell Martin time. But if you don't win games of football, you're going to come under pressure. You've been there recently, you must have had an idea of the way you wanted to play the game. But if you're not winning games of football, do you have to change that just to start winning?
Yeah, but I adapted quickly. I knew that the players weren't to the level that you expect. So that's, again, coming in.
By the way, it's the players' fault now. Charlie,
no. You have a way of playing. We all want to look and play like Pep, and we all. That's not what we've got.
So you just lumped it then?
No, I never lumped it. No, we picked and chose. We wanted to bring teams onto us to then play a little bit longer. And Russell, I think, learned from the experience at Southampton, where he tried to play in one of the best leagues in the world. He had success, of course he did. He had good success in it, but got punished in the transitions at times. And the way he tried to build at times, he'll have learned from that. At Rangers, they've got the best players. Them and Celtic have the best players, and they'll find different ways. The biggest thing for me is when it's 4-5-1 and they've got teams camped in. How do they find these solutions to break teams down? Because I think it's a great appointment. I said to Kris there, I think it's brave from Rangers, but you have to be brave at times. You know, these new owners coming in, they want a brand of football, they want a style. He's got that. You know what you're going to get. And he looks like he's trying to bring the right players in that will be able to handle the football.
I think it's interesting, though, because you look at, especially the Champions League game last week, you know, when you're trying to play out from the back, and Rangers could have been 2 or 3-0 down by the time they actually scored. So it is finding that balance, because we all know the pressures, the demands that are on especially when you're not used to winning like Rangers have been recently. The fans can turn like that. So it is finding that balance, albeit. Listen, I think if you'd have said to Russell Martin at the start of the game, you would have, you know, left Ibrox with a 2-0 victory, you'd have bit your hand off for it. So they're in a good place, but do you think they'll go through?
Yeah, I think they'll edge Panathinaikos. I think they've got enough. I think the start for him, I think we'd all agree, is absolutely massive. And I wasn't at Ibrox. Don't get the invites there the other night, but are the fan base, are they all behind him? Is there an element of sort of scepticism with him? Because he didn't sort of, when he went in, he didn't wear brown brogues in his first interview, did he?
It's better than those things you've got on anyway. Let's see those.
Well,
You've walked into that one. Back to Patrick. Back to Patrick now.
We're growing a brand again.
I'm surprised you'll not get studs in the bottom of them. Yeah, I think the fan base at the start.
Who did they want?
Yeah, but I think it's like everything when there's a takeover and you're hearing Jose Mourinho, all the names are batting about. Sean Dyche's name was mentioned. There's been names mentioned. Ancelotti, you know, for me that was a no-go anyway. But I think, you know, especially in Scotland, you know, we listen to the majority of fans saying, "Oh, my team doesn't have a style of play. We don't do this, we don't do that." Russell Martin will come in and, you know, implement a style of play. So you can't, on one hand, say, "Oh, we don't have a style of play," then you've got a style of play now and you're going to moan about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it might be different, and it might take time for Rangers fans to actually adapt to what is going on, because, as I said the other night, you could quite easily have been 2 or 3-0 down by the time you were 2-0 up. There was phases in the game where you thought, you know, it's going to take some balls to play like this, basically. Yeah. But, you know, it's going to take time, and I think that is the modern way. You know, there is good players at Rangers.
So you say it's going to take time. I think we'd all agree that Rangers need patience, but there isn't that patience. So how long, if he doesn't have a good start? Remember the Postecoglou start at Celtic. I mean, is it going to be, you know, the pressure on from the start?
Well, I think you're always under pressure, isn't it? I mean, as soon as you become the manager of Rangers or Celtic, you're always going to be under pressure. Everybody thinks they're better than you anyway. We'll sit here and criticise it, but the reality is he's a manager of one of the biggest clubs in the country, the world. And you look at, I think that, you know, for Rangers, the start of the season is crucial. You know, they've given themselves an opportunity now over the 2 legs against Panathinaikos. Obviously winning the first one, they go away, which will be a difficult game, but they've still got a chance of going through. But the start of the season, I think with it, you always look at it and think you want that Old Firm game at home. Rangers have got that. They've got 3 games before that. They'll need to take maximum points from that, get into that game for me. And if they can do that, go to Ibrox, a full house, ask a question of Celtic, then you never know. But the flip side of that is, if you don't get 9 points for your opening 3 games, then all of a sudden, and Celtic do, you're under pressure right at the start. So it's football. I
think for him, I think he has to just focus. We keep saying, how long's he got? I don't even think he could worry about this. I think Rangers have to just get in a streamline from top to bottom, from the ownership, new ownership with Kevin Farwell, with Dan Purdy are in there now. I think it's important that they're all on the same page and there's no just signing players for the sake of signing players, spending more money than you don't need to. There's good players there, like Boydie says. People like Dowell, who you didn't expect, are coming back now.
Is he good enough, though?
Well, let's see. Let's see if he's good enough. He was good enough in League One last year for Birmingham, but it's a big step up, isn't it? I don't think we've seen enough of him when he first came into Rangers. So now he's got a new manager under his belt, a little bit of love, a little bit of arm round him, which I think Russell gives. Then maybe we'll see a different type of player. I think going from it, the goalkeeper's obviously started well. I think he's.
We had to.
There were rumours about him.
Yeah, of course. But he looks like he's come back in a different frame of mind, and he's obviously played well the other night. He made a lot of mistakes last year, which was bad for him. But he's come through it. Listen, he's been in a tough period. I've played with him a number of times, and I know how a good goalkeeper he is. He's a top goalkeeper, but you have to start from there. And if he plays well, then it gives clarity and it gives confidence to everybody else within the group. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that they're on the right path, but they'll have to just take each game as it comes.
I still think there'll be at least 3 or 4 signings to come into Ibrox before the start of the season as well. I mean, they obviously need to get players out, because you can't keep. I mean, it is a bloated squad. There's no doubt about that. But I look at it right now and think, you know, obviously the Dessers and Iggyman situation as well. Will the 2 of them move on? I'll be honest with you.
Who would you rather move on out of the 2?
I think Iggyman for me. I mean, Cyril Dessers already proved they can do it. I mean, albeit it was a team. I mean, to score over 50 goals in 2 seasons, it's a good return.
And a team that was having a tough time. You know, that's.
And I don't think he's a bad boy. And I'm not saying Iggyman is, but I look at Dessers. You know he's going to turn up for his work. He's at an age now where he knows he needs to be training properly every single day, giving his all.
But Iggyman will turn up as well. I mean,
he will. But for me, as I said, I think that Iggyman, we've seen it in flashes. I don't think Iggyman's ever going to hold down a regular spot at Rangers. I just don't see it. Because there is times where you think that's brilliant, but there's other times when you're like, oh, not too sure that. For me, I still think Russell Martin will be in the market trying to find a striker that is nailed on. Even the 2 of them. I mean, you could flip-flop both of them. 1 week it could be Iggyman, the next week it could be Dessers. That's no good. I mean, I think as a manager, you would want at least... There's 2 positions I always think that you can't mess around with. One's your goalkeeper and one's your number 9. They're the 2 most important players on the football pitch. One will win you and one will save you the games. You know, and I think for me, Rangers don't have clarity in that number 9 position yet.
Are you confident then that the players who they've brought the boy from Sheffield Wednesday in, Cherney was
he was
the outstanding player last season, their creator, the goal scorer. Are they going to be able to replace him?
I think, Kris, you make a good point in terms of the goal scorer. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that, because for me, looking at it, you're obliged to buy Oscar Cortés. Why would you not have put something in place? And listen, it might have been too much money, I don't know. But you know, when Cherney, the type of player he was, an opportunity, you could tell as soon as he arrived, he's a good player. Rangers must have identified that. Why would you not have had something in place that allowed them to keep him, or at least enter into negotiations?
I've been there. Every player you sign, you think's a good player, and ultimately it's hard, because when you come to Rangers and Celtic, it's a huge step up. He handled the step up. His quality's there, and he's a very good player. So some deals the club that they bought him from probably didn't want that. And ultimately, they're now in the power, aren't they? Because they've got the player back and he's had a good season and they could probably sell him wherever they want. And yeah, Rangers have made that mistake, but they'll probably go and try and get him back, and the window will take its toll. It's like Celtic. You have a waiting game, don't you?
Yeah.
And they'll not want to pay X amount, and Rangers say, well, we want to pay this. So if they really want the player, they'll be looking to get him
back. I don't think he'll be back.
So after that water squirting incident.
That was good. I would have done the same with you.
But they look like they've invested well, like a lot of clubs in Scotland. There's a lot of turnover of players, isn't there? You know,
but Hadji's gone, Cherney's got Hadji, you know, whatever.
Needed to go.
You say he needed to go.
I think he'd...
But look, I'm certainly not a Rangers fan, but look at them in the final third. You mentioned it. So, you know, massive games, Champions League games. Frontline he went with, you know, is that one which Rangers fans are going to get excited about? It's not. It's a work in progress. You know, he needs time, but you know he needs a strong start to the season, and that front line, you know, we can have sort of faith.
It needs upgraded. There's no doubt about it. It needs upgraded. As I said, for me, listen, Finlay Curtis might become a good player for Rangers Football Club, but I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair to put a lot of pressure on a kid at that age to be the man to carry a Champions League dream. You know, of getting to there. I look at Kieran Dowell. This is now the third manager for Kieran Dowell as well. And listen, we've all been there where, and you speak to people, Kieran Dowell is unbelievable in the training ground. But it might be, you've said on it there, the demands and the pressures to play with the big two up here, they're difficult to handle.
Yeah, no, they are difficult.
You know, and Birmingham are obviously a big, club down the road. They were a big fish in a small pond in League One last year. They were able to come up and he went in there and he done really well. But I just don't see Kieran Dowell as somebody who's going to take Rangers to that next level. And that next level, I mean, qualifying for Champions Leagues, been able to go and win cups, been able to go and challenge Celtic over the course and distance of a season. It might be good in training and everything, but I just don't see it. Danilo, again, I think he's probably the best finisher at the club. I do, but there's an issue with fitness as well. What I will say is this is the first time we see a real pre-season, so we might see a different Danilo.
Yeah.
Again, cost a lot of money. Cost a lot of money. And you know, it's over to him now because he needs to start scoring goals on a regular basis. But I still think Rangers need to strengthen in that final third.
I do like the good on the training ground analogy. I do enjoy that. Just rubbish in games.
Right, I know you're obsessed with Rangers. But where do Celtic need to strengthen? Where do Celtic need to strengthen? No, we've seen it before. We've seen it before.
Good on the training. Good on the training ground.
Yeah, but we've played with a lot of players that play well at training, and when the big game comes, they disappoint you.
I mean, us three, I'd imagine, would have been the opposite. We actually done all right in games that were rubbish in training. Well, right, never mind.
A bit of both. Well, look, I mean, Celtic at this moment in time, there's sort of, if you're a Rangers fan, you're quite encouraged. The lack of business which Celtic have done. Nicholas Kuhn, interesting. 19 million, good money for him. I do think it's good money for him, but Charlie mentioned Champions League qualifier coming up, and let's get it right. Last season it wasn't a title race. It wasn't. No. Celtic had buried Rangers first half of the season, won 16 out of the first 18, and the title race was over. But it's interesting. The end of the season, Celtic still won a double, lost the cup to Aberdeen, and yet things sort of, because of their dominance in recent seasons, things are, you know, maybe there's a sort of certain entitlement or that feeling of entitlement amongst some of the support base, and they feel that, you know, winning is just normal. That's dangerous. I do think in the cold light of day, Kyogo, I bang on about Kyogo loads, but they needed to replace him in January, and Brendan spoke about that in January, the need to replace him. So they didn't replace him in January, haven't replaced him yet. Nicholas Kuhn's gone. You look at their goals and assists between the two of them last season. That's, you know, they're two not big players in stature, but enormous holes to fill.
You've struggled to go over that Kyogo one, haven't you?
I think
you've struggled to go over that.
It's a difficult one. It is difficult.
I have, yeah.
You look at these type of players. They are match winners, aren't they? Kyogo's done unbelievable. Now gone into Birmingham. Kuhn, the numbers there for Celtic, the return on their investment has been good. But I think when you're at a team like Celtic who have been dominant and have been successful, I don't think Celtic need 6, 7, 8 signings. I think they need 3, 4 signings So they could afford to be patient. But again, we understand there's Champions League football coming up, and that is what could make a huge difference in terms of the type of player they're signing if they get Champions League football. But listen, I think every club's working hard to get the right players in. And again, Celtic, they'll spend the money that they think is right. They're not going to go and spend 15 million on a player. I think they're looking to get some players in that they can get a good value and then they can sell for profit. But they have to.
I mean, the question is are they? This is virtually every season. But are they taking too big a risk? Is it one of those which comes and bites you on the backside if you leave it that late? Champions League qualifier, absolutely enormous in terms of finance.
Oh,
and then,
so if you asked Brendan, he would have wanted it done on the 28th of June when they come back for pre-season, whenever they come back. But it doesn't work like that, And again, these good players that Celtic will be in the market for, there'll be a lot of other clubs in for them as well. Agents will be looking to say, right, well, we've got Celtic, but also we've got maybe a Serie A club, or we've got clubs in England maybe interested, and they might be waiting for that moment to go. But it just doesn't give you a given right that you should sign players because you're Celtic or you're Rangers because you're a big club. It doesn't give you that given right. Players will pick where they want to go, and they'll have to look at it and say, right, where is the best opportunity? But for me, the opportunity to go and play in the Champions League is very hard to turn down.
But I think, we speak about Rangers front three, and but Celtic's front three is weaker now as well. I mean, where last season you were saying that's your front three.
Yeah.
You're now looking at it saying that Maeda's your only nailed-on one to play.
Well, if anything, I mean...
No Jota for a while either.
Well, exactly. Jota's out. Maeda's like Maradona to Celtic. If he
he's like who?
Maradona to Celtic was last season. Unbelievable. Days of Maida was. Just imagine
if Maeda, Maradona in the same sentence.
They both begin with them. But he was that important to Celtic. If anything happens to him,
there's been rumours that Brentford could in for him as well.
Oh, come on.
Well, there has been.
It'd be massive. It'd have to be massive.
Imagine that. I mean, what would be the point if they sold Days of Maida?
Yeah, but
I mean, that can't. I mean, just sell all the players. I know Celtic have a model, and I understand that, but I mean that's absolutely ridiculous. They can't sell all the best players. Nicholas Kuhn's gone, but they have to build for the season. And look, I think the fan base would be up in arms if.
And either.
But so what happens if there is a bid in there that you feel as if that is.
Well, so
if Brentford have already lost Mbeumo, there's rumours. Well, Visa said he's not going back.
Yeah.
So he's going to go and. There is no doubt that Daiza Maeda has been a name that has been mentioned.
I know that you're desperate for Celtic.
Yeah, 100%. I would sell. Right, never mind that. We'll come back to that. What about the other team's business and the transfers that they've done as well? Who's impressed you?
Well, everybody will look at Hearts with Derek going in there, the experience that Derek's got. I think Hearts will be looking, we're talking about is top six successful? No, I don't think it is. I think Hearts have to be pushing for third. I think if you're a club like Hearts and the investment that they've got, I think they have to be looking at third place.
So fourth would be a disappointment for them.
I think it would be. Yeah, I think third. I think third has to be the goal for them. I think the budget they'll have compared to Hibs, maybe even Aberdeen might have quite similar budgets. But for me, I think Hearts have to be finishing third. I think they're the strong team with what they've done. I like what Hibs have done. I think they've done some good business. Mulligan, people like that coming in. Dylan Levitt looks like he's playing well. He played well in the European game the other day. So. Getting Rocky Bashiri back in as well. So, no, I think...
Chanty is a huge miss for Hibs.
Yeah, but...
He was good last year.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think they've offered over £1 million from which is massive for Hibs. They look like they're having a go with, obviously, the Bournemouth owners are investing in it as well. So, it's a big season for Hearts. I don't think they can have a season again, what they did last year, because it was terrible. And
they were buzzing. They were buzzing, according to somebody. Staying up was an achievement.
Oh, he can't be staying up.
No,
from where
they were. Of course they were. But
Chris
I think it would have hurt them.
So wait a minute. Hibs were below them when they said this. Hibs were below them.
If they're sort of 11th or 12th, then alarm bells aren't ringing. For
Hibs were 11th. Sorry, Hibs were 12th, and Hearts were 11th. And he said to me, Hearts staying up was an achievement.
From where they were, just sometimes you've got to say, right, we've made a mess of things, which they did. So when you're bottom, staying up would be an achievement. But I don't agree.
When you're second bottom and the team's below you, finishes third.
I don't agree with you about the third thing as well. I think it's about building, getting a foothold. Derek McInnes is a good manager.
He's very good.
I think Hearts are absolutely nailed on for third.
But he's just, but that's also the sort of his Aberdeen sort of agenda as well. He has an agenda against Aberdeen, even though they beat Celtic in the cup final.
It's all the time I support.
No, I think if you're Hearts and you're Derek, your third place is where you need to be. You need to be in third place.
I think you do. Well, if we're just praising Hibs and you know we're praising Aberdeen, then you know.
Yeah, but I think Aberdeen, you've got to take into consideration. Aberdeen have got Europe this year. They're guaranteed that's going to take them into January.
Aberdeen,
I think Hibs obviously got a good thing.
Cliff last season.
It's still won a cup.
One-off game at the end of it, isn't it?
But, I mean, are you two?
No, listen, fair play Aberdeen.
Any
no,
great
listen,
scenes?
beating Celtic, they had a good season. They did have a good season.
The open top bus
well
around
done,
the city.
Freedom of the city. I told you, freedom of the city.
What?
But
it's a new season.
I think
what can he do
if I'm the Hearts manager,
well, they were that far ahead. You were telling me they've got to finish second.
I remember.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
You did.
Were you on the same call?
No, I remember you saying that. I
Call.
watched a few
It
shows.
was, by the way, he had a game at Fleetwood that day, but he was tuning in to see what we were saying.
Yeah.
Here's one for you with Hearts then, because there is a lot of talk about Tony Bloom and his investment and Hearts eventually, you know, maybe pushing Celtic and Rangers. Is it? I mean, I think if we all sat there, I can't answer for you. I think that's going to be very difficult for them to be. But there is the argument
Difficult for what?
For them to split Celtic and
That
Rangers.
must have sure.
But then there is the argument.
You think it's possible?
Rangers.
I think it's possible for Hearts.
Yeah.
Outside a few years, yeah, I do.
But Rangers messed up last season because of their inability to beat teams.
But it's still for the second.
That they should have. Yeah, that they should. But is it a possibility? You look at Hearts if they do build, and Tony Bloom's a smart guy. I mean, is that a possibility?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think.
Why?
I think because the financial power of Rangers and Celtic. I think these new 49
financial power of Anderlecht, Club Brugge in Belgium was far superior to Rangers and Celtic compared to Hearts and Union St Gilbert. Managed to win the league.
But still, I still think that the pulling power of the quality of player that Rangers and Celtic can get, I don't see anybody getting in between them. I think that the two clubs are too far ahead. And you can have analytics, you can have all that. Do you think Rangers and Celtic are not doing analytics looking at players? Of course they are.
Not at the level at Brighton, or not at the level at
Well,
Jamestown.
they're all learning, they're all understanding, they're all getting better, they're all improving all the time. But
the only thing
not at the best. There's the best in the world, without a doubt. There's no getting away from it.
No chance. I know there's better than that now.
Better than what?
Brighton. Telling you.
There's absolutely no chance there's anybody's better than Brighton. No chance.
You telling me no?
I'm telling you no.
All right, okay.
I'm telling you no.
How did the analytics work last season?
Where?
At Hearts.
What do you mean, how did it work last season?
Well, it didn't go well, did it?
Well, I think we were always going to judge it on the start of this season. I mean, they went in and everything was tidied up, probably geared towards this season. I think we can start judging it from now. But there is no, I listen to people going on about the financial power of Club Brugge and Anderlecht, Antwerp, was far superior. The difference
Remember
from
academy players that they've produced over the years as well.
What about Leicester City winning the Premier League down south?
Like the young players that they've got and sold, if you look at what they've done, is incredible.
Yeah, but I'm saying the financial power that they've had over Union St Gilbert, and Union were able to topple them and win the league last year.
Yeah, but
Hearts are closer.
Just because the Union St whatever Geelong won the league, does that make them going to be that Hearts are going to be able to beat Rangers and Celtic? No, they might have just had a bad season.
Who's had a bad season?
Anderlecht and Bruges.
Union lost the league, I think, last season, the last day of the season. So it's not a bad season.
Have you got a subscription to
what I'm saying because I talk about the Belgian teams.
Because for me, I'm listening to people going on about, and I've also heard people the disrespecting Scottish football with the signings they're bringing in because it's from Serie C or whatever it is. There's a disrespect in Scottish football. I look at Jamestown Analytics and I look at the job they've done at Brighton. They've plucked people from South America, Caicedo and people like that, Adingra and all these guys as well. And they're selling them on for absolute millions. Caicedo's one of the highest transfers in the Premier League.
I agree. The model is there. The model is there. I understand that, but it's in terms of what level are they allowed to sign the players?
It's all over.
Yeah, but can they? What level? Can Hearts go and spend £3, £4, £5 million on a player?
No, but they won't, and they won't need to.
Why no? Because if you're going to have to beat Rangers Celtic, you're going to have to do that.
Why? But see the thing. This is the thing. For me, I look at Rangers and Celtic, and because we're in this, we always think they're better than what they are. I think Hearts.
It depends on what you're judging. If you're judging it in Scottish football, of course they are. Oh, because over the last 40, 50 years
was the last time. 40 years was the last time a team.
So of course they're bigger, but they've had more money and had more power over the years. I understand that Hearts are coming with a bit of analytics. I understand that, and that's the data and that's the game. But Rangers and Celtic are using data and analytics as well.
But no at the level of what Jamestown analytics are.
Yeah, but they're still looking at players in terms of what they're doing, what numbers they're given, XGs and all that, and performance. They're still looking at all the leagues and all the best players. Of course they're going to get... For Hearts to get in between Rangers and Celtic, it's going to be a big change and a big drop-off from one or the other.
But it's not impossible. And I think
nothing's impossible, but...
So who's your top three then?
I'm going to go...
He's going to go Celtic, Hearts, Rangers.
He's going to go Hearts, Celtic, Rangers.
I think you think about... Celtic are obviously favourites for the league. It's going to be there. I think if they can close the gap... Hearts, for me, will finish third.
Come on, can't close the gap. That's not...
Closing the gap's not good enough. The Rangers have to try and win... They have to go and win the league. But I don't think... At the moment, if you look at it on paper right now, are they close enough to beat Celtic? I don't think so. I think they have the 3 or 4 signings before they can take over it.
Which yours?
Hearts are definitely going to finish third.
I'm looking forward to hearing yours. I agree with Charlie on Hearts finishing third.
I think Hearts are nailed on for third.
And
by the way, comfortable. And they'll be closer to Rangers and Celtic than what they were last season as well.
Yeah. But that's finishing the top 6. Like that's probably I'm not saying it's a must, but Derek must be thinking I need to finish in the top 3 if that's a good season.
He just needs to build.
So what's your top 3?
I don't need to tell you my top 2.
Rangers, Celtic, who?
I'm not.
Well,
if you don't know.
Well, who's going to be third then?
Well, Hearts will be third.
Right, okay. So he's in agreement with us now.
So the 3 of us are in the same agreement.
Yeah, but I'm switching the other 2 around.
Based on
the Teddies are back.
You think?
Back again. It's this time of the season. It's this time of the year where everybody, you know what I mean?
There are so many clips online of him saying this every season.
By the way, I'm going to get it right once. This might just be the time, but elsewhere, who else? I mean, I think we're expecting Aberdeen, well, Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, top 6. Who else do you think might sneak in?
Well, you just said the top 6.
No, Aberdeen,
Who
Hibs,
else?
Hearts. There's still one spot left. Who do you think could potentially...
Well, St Mirren, under Stephen Robinson, they're sort of pretty consistent. Not a great watch at times. You know, they're direct, but there's nothing wrong with being direct. You know, he knows what he's got, knows what he has to work with, and is very effective at what he does. If you're asking me who worries me, Dundee worry me.
Dundee.
That whole Dundee United worry me to some extent because of the overhaul of turnover of players, and Jim Goodwin certainly surprised me. I didn't give him a prayer at the top 6 last season. So a top 6 finish, you know, was phenomenal. But just the overturn of players, losing Dolby, centre forward, very obvious thing to say. But it'll be interesting to see how they get on that sort of second season after coming up, second season syndrome.
No Scottish player for the first time.
That was the worry. That was
Dundee United,
the worry.
European, no Scottish player for the first time in their history.
That was a worry.
It's pretty. Does it say a lot about the Scottish game, that though? Well, or does it say that maybe youngsters, the value in terms of Dundee United?
The only way I was thinking about it was that a lot of foreign players coming in might be not cheaper option, but the finances might be not as much as maybe.
Plus the other end, if they come in and do well, you might be able to
sell them on. So again, that's the thing. Obviously, Ross Graham now has just become captain and he was injured, but to not have a Scottish player in the starting 11 in Europe was something that took me by surprise. I thought they had some good young players coming through, but again, you know, like you say, being in Europe, a lot of teams will realise that it's tough being in Thursday, Sunday for Aberdeen, Hearts, Dundee United. If they can get through, would be, you know, it's great for them getting through this tie. If they can, be worth a few quid to them as well. But I worry for Dundee. I worry for Dundee. That's my team of support. I worry for what's going on. There doesn't seem to be a lot of business getting done, but you know, Stephen's, you know, gone in and he's tried to shake up.
There's a lot of Dundee fans a little bit sceptical about the appointment.
Yeah.
You've just said that you're a Dundee fan. Are you one of them?
I was surprised. It was out the blue. Tony Dock, I thought, had done a good job in terms of getting him in the top 6. Yeah, of course you don't want to be fighting relegation the last day, but again, second season, it's always tough. So there must have become a disagreement between him and John or in the board or and it'll be John because he runs it on a daily basis. So there's something's definitely happened, and I was shocked to see him because I thought he was doing a good job bringing young players in, giving them the opportunity. Obviously, Lyle went, Josh went.
How good can they two be? Sorry, I meant to ask you when you said it earlier on.
Yeah, I think so. I spoke to David Gray last week actually, and he's doing really well. I like Josh. I think Josh has got the power and the pace to get around the pitch. It's finding the right position for him. I think he's a running 8, but can also do a job from wing back. Lyle will be very good technically, no problem. Physically, no problem. He'll be one of the fittest there. But again, it's now, can you go to that big club? Going from Dundee to the expectation of on there. Josh is a little bit different.
He's not going to play at Rangers, is he?
Not regular, but he'll come in and be able to, like you say, if you've got a Champions League game or you've got Europa League, you know that he's got the quality to play in the league to come in on a Sunday if he has to play. Josh is a little bit different because he's gone to Hibs where there is pressure, of course there is, because Hibs want to do as well as they can, but not as big a jump from Dundee to Hibs than it is from Dundee to Rangers. Yeah. But again, it's a great move for the two lads. If you're a Dundee as a club, you're disappointed because you're letting them go in compensation, which is what you don't want to do. But unfortunately, they have. But a great move for the two boys because they're great kids as well, and they always want to learn and develop. The three of them, obviously, Finn Robertson was the same. But I think Josh has got potential to kick again.
Just going back to Dundee United. The no Scottish players thing. Is Jim Goodwin obliged to play Scottish
absolutely
players?
not. Absolutely not. He's got to do what's best for him and sign the right players that's for him. I think Jim's bounced back well from the Aberdeen situation he had in terms of leaving there, and it was a tough period. He's done a good job at St Mirren, and he's got Dundee United in a good place, and it's how European football affects him. I think he's got some good players in there. But again, if they do get into Europe, it's how they manage to do it with the squad. If they can get a bigger squad, that might help them. But I do worry for Dundee. As a supporter, I worry for them.
So you've got Dundee, the two teams coming up, Livingston.
I think Livingston will surprise you.
What do you think?
I think Livingston will surprise you.
Yeah.
I think Davy's done an excellent job. The players they've signed have got Premier League experience, a new pitch, which will be better. But I think Davy Martindale will have them fired up. A little bit of investment, as Davy keeps telling everybody, that they've got, which is also going to help them. No, I think they could surprise, and I think they could be just below that top 6.
Falkirk,
Falkirk could be anything. They'll come and they'll play, and we know that they've got a style, and John's got a style that he wants to do. It's that next step in terms of the ruthlessness of the next level for them. If they can keep goals out and they can keep clean sheets, will help them build on it, because they have got attacking sighting players, but signing a little bit of experience. Obviously Arfield's gone back, Graham's gone in there as well for a bit of experience to help them, so it could be a tough season for Falkirk. But
I think there's a few of them, and they come out. Obviously, new manager Stuart Kettlewell, Motherwell, new manager as well. Be interested to see how obviously Stuart Kettlewell.
Will he change up the style at Kilmarnock? Will it be different under Kettlewell and McInnes?
Well, I think it's I look at Derek's style sometimes get criticised, but you hit the nail on the head. If you've not got players to go and play in a certain way, you've got to find a way of getting the best out of players. And there's one thing, and I think any time we covered Kilmarnock last year, we spoke about it. They'd always two wingers on the pitch that looked to get balls in the box. They'd always two strikers on the pitch. So I think that for Kilmarnock it might be a change, because Stuart likes to play that 3 at the back with the 4 in the midfield, the 2 6s, and then the 2 10s as such, try to get in contact. So there's no doubt for the wider boys in the 4, it's a shift. For the 2 in front of the 2 midfielders, it's a shift. It'll be interesting to see how. I think looking at Stuart Kettlewell, for me, I felt as if the way it was worded, that with the fans and that at the end, I think it was just a get-out clause for me. Looking at it, I think he just wanted to get away. I don't think. A lot of Kilmarnock fans have said, he left Motherwell because of the pressure of the fans and everything. And we're just as bad as Motherwell. We'll have a go, and if we're not happy with the way our teams play, I think Stuart. I think he probably regrets what he said, but at the same time, there was a way of.
What are you basing that on, though?
I think
because I think he said something that now he might look back and think, why did I say that? There's no doubt. We've sat in numerous shows and said, Motherwell, you felt as if they were about to hit they were on the decline, and I thought he's probably thought it's time to get out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was criticism there, and it can be totally difficult. But to then go back in a few months later into the same environment tells me
but he might say it's a different environment.
Football management's you're on the dugout. You're on the touchline. You're on your own. Those fans behind you want your team to win. If you're not winning, you're going to get pelters.
Oh, you understand that basically that's in the contract. That's expected, and that's understandable. I understand that, but I can only give an opinion. Stuart, when I was at Everton, actually come into the training ground and spent a day watching the training, and I had a chat with him about it. And I think it got too much for his family to go and watch the games.
Yeah.
I could see ultimately if he didn't need it and he walks away, he walked away. There's you might be privy to different things to me, but when you go in the job, you sign up for that. That's part of it. But there is a point, and he said it's not right for his family, and he walked away. And ultimately, it was a big decision for him because it's very tough to get back in. I think he turned down Carlisle job when it was just up quite quickly after that. But I think it's a sensible decision from Kilmarnock. I agree. I think for them, they always wanted to go with somebody with Premier League experience. That's what I got. That's what I was getting told. So it's an opportunity. He'd started really well at Motherwell, done a decent enough job, and like you say, it was starting to decline a little bit. Yeah. And he made the choice to walk away. So he's back in now, and like I say, it'll be interesting. Like you say, the way he changed formation from what Derek was to what he does. And again, they'll be looking to try and bring different types of players in. Daba going maybe as well. Will be a blow.
Daba's went. He's went.
So that'll be a blow for them. That's a big blow for them.
Good money though.
Yeah. So again, good return on their investment. So no, I think for Kilmarnock it'll be about stabilising again, being in the Premier League, and how can they build on what Derek's done, because I think Derek done a great job.
We'll find out how that unfolds in the next few weeks. What we'll find out this week is Hibs, Dundee United, Rangers in Europe. Can they all progress?
I think the three of them will. I thought Hibs were excellent in Orsland the other week, but it's on a knife edge. But I do think Hibs have got enough in the tank to get through this tie. But if the three of them get through, I think it'd be brilliant for us as a country to get that going into the next round. And then obviously Celtic have got big European games coming up as well.
What do you think, boys?
I don't want to Jonah anyone. If I say they'll all win, then
I'll just say they'll all lose and they'll win.
I might go down that route. I think Rangers will go through. I think Rangers will go through. Hibs sort of
It's the one I'm on the fence with as well.
In sort of previous seasons, they found it, but then this is what they did last season under David Gray. Remember the start of the season we talk about Hearts, and Hibs went through a really dodgy period, but they stuck with him, and they benefited from that. I think that's a really good lesson for a lot of hierarchy in Scotland. The importance to stick with the manager.
What reason did they manage to keep David Gray then?
Well, I don't know.
I think because you could see, in performances that Hibs were very close. Yeah, there was decisions went against them. There was mistakes. There was obviously the cards that went there, but that comes down to discipline. There was poor choices from players on the pitch that you felt as if you could get yourself back to the training pitch and work on that, you could eradicate them and move forward.
What about learning from past mistakes? Early sackings, which they sort of had a bit of a...
No, and I don't think that was... No? Because I think the three each against Aberdeen. I think if Aberdeen had beat Hibs that night, I think it was done. But there was obviously they got through that one, and then the following week they were able to kick on, and then they were starting to build. But you could see that the foundations were there.
I done the pro. Well, I am on the pro license with David now. I said to him, "Sharing the pro license." I said,
"I'm showing off."
No. I said, "How did?"
Have you not got that yet?
No, not yet. I know you've got it, but you've not used it. Yeah. You don't need it for sat on the telly. But so I'd done the pro license, and I said to him and I think Malky was a big factor in that as well. That Malky had been a manager, and he knew there was a wee bit of pressure. But again, I said to him was there any reason why they kept your job? He says, come down to data, analytics. He says, like you were saying, that the moments in the games, and it showed, we talked about XG and shots and crosses, and the moments that we were in big moments, we were actually playing well, but small things were changing, sending offs and all that. Yeah. So that's basically why I probably kept my job. So fair play to them, and they've backed it, and finished the season strong. blow for them, obviously Aberdeen winning the Scottish Cup, because
get straight into Europe.
You could have got straight into Europe, but no, it's a good starting point for them with the result they got last week. But they need to try and finish off at home, and these are a good side.
And one player I'm looking forward to seeing this season, Kieran Bowie.
Yeah.
We spoke about him last season, and I think he had injury issues. But he's someone I just like the look of him.
No, I agree. Good physicality about him as well. Good physicality about him. Obviously, a young Scottish striker as well. You'd expect to be in and around the Scotland setup. Going forward as well. So no, I agree with that one. That's the first thing I've agreed with, but the only thing all season. But listen, we're out of time. That's us.
Oh, I haven't said who's going down yet.
No, who then?
Falkirk,
you said Dundee.
Falkirk, Livingston, Dundee, 10th.
I'll go Falkirk.
Falkirk.
11th.
I don't want to have Dundee in 11th, so
Motherwell.
Motherwell.
I'm going to say Dundee 12th. Falkirk 11th.
Bold.
There we go. But it's all over. We're out of time. See you again soon.
Thank you.